more taxes being paid this year than in the previous year. It depends on the value of your property as to how much that would, and if your value dropped down, then you pay less than you did last year. So it's all contingent on the value of the property. We did anticipate that, or we didn't anticipate, TAD certified property value in River Oaks was $384,710,933. You have to deduct from that the tax ceiling, which was this year $364,732 at 100%. But I've done everything at 99.5%, and in doing so, I was able to come up with $2,570,925 as the projection for the revenues, and that is the amount that I included in the budget this year to offset our expenditures. The average homestead taxable value increased from last year at $115,314 up to this year $122,185. That's an increase of 5.96%. The total levy of all from properties in 2019 were at the rate of 674516 compared to the 2020 tax approval rate of 0.697375 will raise more property taxes than last year's budget by $93,305, which is or 4.48%. And of that amount, $20,458.97 is tax revenue that'll be raised from new property added to the tax roll this year. Senate Bill 2 provided that a tax unit must only hold one public hearing. We're holding two to meet the newspaper publication requirements. And one thing that we did not consider as a town under 30,000, we could have looked at the diminished rate, which allows towns under $30,000 to accrue up to or to gain $500,000 up to $500,000 in revenue, and that rate was 0.834124. We decided not to go with that, but stick with less than the voter approval rate, which is what we are recommending to everybody. And with that, I'll open up to any questions that you may have. Anybody have any questions?
Mr. City Manager, this is Chief Shelley. Can you ask everyone to please mute their mics? There is a ton of background noise coming through to all of us that are remote.
Okay. I believe all of them are muted right now, but there's one out there on Mac Pro.
No. No, I'm not on. I'm not on.
Yeah, somebody named Mac Pro.
I don't know, Mac Pro.
Are you there, Mac Pro? I didn't get him to respond.
Who's on the Apple side?
Sir?
That's the kind of computer they have.
Okay, well, it showed up on here as Mac Pro, so.
Well, I know.
We thought he was pointing fingers at the back road.
No, he probably was. I got a Mac Pro, but it's not on.
Any comments to this public hearing?
Is there any other step plans that we don't know about?
No, that's it. The step plan that the put in, the police department put in this year, and the fire department step plan, that's an ongoing plan that's been incorporated in the 5-year budget. So no, there's no new additions to it. There'll be no increase except for what's in that step plan. What the chief told us here a while back was.
No other employee hired
No other employees.
next year.
Isn't that right, Chief Shelley?
I think I there was a conversation about hiring a fire chief. Wouldn't that be part of that 4? If that happens.
Those 4 guys are on shift, riding on a fire engine every day. If you're hiring a new fire chief, no one told me.
And you had said that in the future, you said that at the last meeting. In the future,
I was referring to in the distant future,
yeah.
should the city decide that they have grown and that circumstances dictate having a full-time fire chief on duty 5 days a week, that a full-time fire chief may be something that the city manager wants to consider in the future. I do not foresee a need for that anytime soon.
But
that's
my question is,
discussion for a much later date.
but my question is, could he be one of the 12, not add a 13th, not make it 13?
To be honest with you, in order for him to do his administrative duties and all the things that go along with that, it would be very difficult for him to be on shift 48 hours at a time, and then you would end up with 3 days a week that there was no chief around, so you're not really gaining that full-time fire chief. There would be no need to do that any different than what we're doing today if that were the situation.
And right now, we have a part-time chief and a part-time captain with another captain to fill up the gap, so I see no reason to do a fire chief at all. Correct?
I'm happy to continue serving the city of River Oaks as long as the city manager will have me serve.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, this public hearing is now closed. Item number 9, action, public hearing, consider approval of ordinance 1291/2020, fixing and levying municipal auditorium taxes for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2020, and ending September 30, 2021, at a rate of 0.697374 per 100 of property value, which is effectively a total tax rate increase of 0.22858 per 100 of value, or 3.39% from the 2019 tax rate of 0.674516 per 100 of property value. This tax rate will raise more taxes for maintenance and operations than last year's tax rate.
If anybody's gonna make a motion, you need to do those two, because one's under the local government code. You have to ratify the budget first. Second thing is the tax rate.
I move to ratify the property tax increase reflected in the fiscal year 2021 budget that will require raising more revenue for property taxes than in the previous year. I further move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.697374 cents, which is effectively a 3.4997% increase in the tax rate for maintenance and operations. Therefore, move to adopt ordinance 1291-2020.
Did y'all hear the motion entirely?
I'll second that.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 1291/2020. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 12, consider approval of resolution 1025/2020 authorizing Economic Development Corporation expenditures from the 2020-2021 fiscal year budget as qualified for projects more than $10,000 and providing an effective date. Second reading.
I did make a correction for the second reading involving the boulevard enhancements. I removed that and put in, it's a business enterprise expense for $25,000 for signage up along not only the highway but the other roads. So that's the change I made on under